Yusuke Fujiwara is a character you're likely not familiar with. Heck, I know I wasn't when I started writing this episode, but now he's gotten his share of the spotlight thanks to the latest Animation Chronicles set. Despite looking like what would happen if a wet mop won the main character anime hair contest, it's said that Yusuke is even more skilled than Obelisk Blue's other top student, Zane Truesdale. He was also possessed by the evil entity Night Shroud, thus making him one of the antagonists of GX Season 4, which, since that one didn't get a dub, explains why he doesn't get quite as much exposure. But now, we're gonna change all that. Hello everyone, GoldenNova here, and it's time to expand on a theme that's been around since Stardust Overdrive, a core set that came out in November 2009, and see if these new additions can make a world of difference. It's time for Clear Explained. Today's episode is brought to you by my lovely patrons, as well as the wonderful people over at Dragon Shield. Get the sleeves as strong as dragon scales and save 5% on your order by using coupon code GoldenNova at checkout. So, what's the deal with Clear? Well, they're a series of dark attribute monsters with a variety of types and utility effects that revolve around the field spell Clear World, which punishes both players in a number of ways depending on what attributes of monsters they control. In the anime, Yusuke got around this because the clears don't count as any attribute while on the field, but in paper, they instead share an effect where you're unaffected by the effects of Clear World while you control them. This is reflective of Yusuke, and by extension Night Shroud's, ideology that the bonds that tie us together will eventually lead to the breaking of those bonds, causing immense pain, so it's better to remain a blank slate and never deal with the consequences of getting close to others. Suffice it to say, Night Shroud's idea of a clear mind is very different from Yusuke's, and is a lot less cool. Because the field spell is so central to our theme, let's start by covering it. Clear World is a field spell card that has you paying 500 life points to keep on field during each of your end phases, or you'll have to destroy it, and the following effects are applied to each player depending on the attributes of monsters they control. Light forces its duelist to play with their hand revealed. Dark keeps you from attacking if you control 2 or more monsters. Earth has you targeting one of your face-up defense position monsters during your standby phase and destroying it. Water has you discarding a card during your end phase. Fire has you taking 1,000 damage during your end phase. And Wind has you paying 500 life points every time you want to activate a spell card. It doesn't do anything to help your game plan like most modern field spells do, but does put the pressure on players who run a variety of attributes. Heck, with a dark monster up, you basically can't get OTK'd, and with a light, you're giving your opponent perfect knowledge of all your hand traps, not to mention whatever lines of play you have available. Heck, the deck you're playing is probably on full display. Honestly, the rest of the effects aren't that good, but since light and dark tend to be the most widespread attributes in use today, it's more than enough to punish the opposition. Personally though, I always remembered this for having a big crystal that looked like a refractor from the Mega Man Legends game. I'm losing my mind that we are living in the reality where that series of games is not getting a revival. The repercussions of Mighty Number 9 will be felt across the eons forever. Clear Cube is a level 1 machine monster with 0 attack and defense, and during your main phase, you can normal summon a monster that mentions Clear World in addition to your normal summoner set. And if this face-up card in its owner's control leaves the field by an opponent's card, you can special summon a monster from your deck that mentions Clear World. Extra normal summons are very strong for a variety of reasons, whether you need to follow up a regular summon with a tribute summon, or you're looking for material to make that next link too. And if your opponent attempts to clear it out, dealing a lot of damage to you through that 0 attack stat mind, you'll be able to swap it out for other scary cards. In fact, you're incentivized to run this into your opponent's monsters during your own turn. That way you can choose the least powerful target to trigger it, and you immediately get to use the monster you float into. Overall, pretty neat card, glad we have it, but I can't be the only one that's been distracted by the fact that this looks like the Rick and Morty Butterbot, right? Its one purpose in life is to get killed, and that has got to suck. Clear Phantom is a level 3 Fiend monster with 1200 attack and 800 defense, and you can discard 2 cards, including this card from your hand, to add 2 cards from your deck to your hand that are either Clear World and or a spell or trap card that mentions it. And if this card is destroyed, you can target a monster your opponent controls and destroy it, and if you do, send the top 3 cards of your deck to the grave. Now, it doesn't care how it gets destroyed, so this makes for a great float off of Clear Cube if you need blockers, but most of the time, you'll be pitching this alongside another card to get Clear World, and a card will talk about in just a bit. It's really the only other target we have right now, but does leave itself open to future clear support, so keep an eye out. And no, I mean really keep a good eye out. The opacity on these things are really low, so they're going to be hard to spot. Clear Rage Golem is a level 4 rock monster with 1600 attack and 1800 defense, and if normal or special summoned, you can activate this effect. Your monsters that mention Clear World can attack directly this turn, and when this card inflicts battle damage to your opponent, you can burn them for 300 damage for each card in their hand. The additional burn damage is nice, but because we can't count on the count of cards in our opponent's hand, we'll want to ensure we only calculate using our own card's attack power, and we can do a lot of damage with those. Really, it's an appropriate name, because whenever you sneak a game from your opponent with that effect, slipping past all of your opponent's defenses with your invisible monsters, you'll be lucky if your opponent only gets mad. Clear Vicious Knight is a level 7 warrior monster with 2300 attack and 1100 defense, and you can tribute summon this card by tributing a monster that mentions Clear World, making it work very well with Cube. It gains attack equal to the highest original attack among monsters your opponent controls, and your opponent can't activate the effects of special summoned monsters with attack lower than this tribute summoned cards. This is a fantastic new boss monster for the theme. It's basically a one-sided skill drain, unless their monsters manage to gain an additional 2300 attack boost to Clear Vicious, which is patently absurd. Not even the new Skull Guardian gets big enough to do that, and it pairs stupendously well with Rage Golem. If your opponent has a 3000 attack monster, Vicious Knight can attack directly for 5300 damage. So if you can also get in with Rage Golem's 1600 attack, you only need to have another Clear World that has 1100 attack, or the opponent needs to have 4 cards in hand, and you win. Now all we need is Clear Spike Knight, and we'll have all the Bebop references we could ask for. Clear Vice Dragon is a level 8 dragon monster with question mark attack and 0 defense, and if this card attacks an opponent's monster, the attack of this card becomes twice the attack of the attack target during damage calculation only, and if this card would be destroyed by an opponent's card effect, you can discard a card instead. This isn't going to be very helpful in conjunction with Rage Golem, since your opponent doesn't have any attack points, until Master Rule 6 of course, but is great for clearing out opposing monsters. Granted, it's more of a dish it out kind of monster and less of a handle it type, since it'll have effectively 0 attack when being attacked, but we've got a solution for that coming up soon. Which is good, because its pseudo effect destruction protection means that it's going to be one tough nut to crack. Now it just has to work on that attitude of its. It could stand to be a bit more of a clear, responsible dragon. You know, cut down on the cigarettes some, work on the budgeting. This is a children's card game after all. Clear Wall is a continuous spell card that, while Clear World is on the field, you can add a monster from your deck to your hand that mentions it. Monsters that mention Clear World can't be destroyed by battle, also you take no battle damage from battles involving them, which is a huge boon to Cube and Dragon. And while you control a level 7 or higher monster that mentions Clear World, so currently Vicious Knight and Nice Responsible Dragon, all the effects of Clear World are applied to your opponent regardless of the attributes that they control. That is outrageous. This means you get to see your opponent's hand, keep them from attacking once they have 2 or more monsters, make them pay 500 life points to activate all their spell cards, and during each of their end phases they have to discard a card and take 1000 damage without them even having to summon anything. And I guess also losing a face-up defense position monster during their standby phases, but that hardly seems relevant. It also grabbing a Clear World monster is a great way to help enable that effect, and keeping them all safe from battle destruction and causing battle damage means Cube and good old dependable Dragon are no longer easy to run over while preventing you from taking a boatload of damage. I suppose this also canonizes the big prism all the clear monsters wear is something they can take off, which is good because I can't imagine trying to fall asleep in one of those. It looks like the world's sharpest hamster ball. Real quick, if you've enjoyed the video so far, I would be so grateful if you considered hitting that subscribe button, notification bell, and like button. All of those are really great ways to help build up the channel. So that's all of the clear cards, but what do we do with them? Well, our on-theme game plan is pretty simple. Use Phantom to get Clear World and Wall, then use Wall to add either Cube or Vicious Knight to your hand, whichever one you don't have in hand. That lets you set up the Vicious Skill Drain, at which point you can beat the crud out of your opponent until you can use Rage Golem to get in some free hits for game. So what we need are searches and extra summons to set this up. So what can we play to help them out? This deck is another instance of the multi-universe package being really helpful. The field spell itself recovers and protects Clear World, and while the big harmful effects trigger during your opponent's end phase, the Earth one is a mandatory one even if they don't control any monsters. That way you can immediately get a Clear World monster as your opponent's turn starts, thanks to Krishnerd Witch. Gen X ally Birdman has some funny applications here. If you normal summon Tour Guide, one of the valid summon targets is Clear Phantom. So if you use Birdman to return Clear Phantom to your hand, you can use its discard effect to get your clear spells. This does unfortunately burn your normal summon, so it doesn't get you the full setup without additional help, but like I said, it is really funny. As with many things, the Fiendsmith engine is an excellent way to help you get to Clear Phantom as well. Using any of your level 6 monsters, you can make Beatrice to get that into the graveyard, then you use Unchained Soul of Rage's On Destruction effect to put it back into your hand. And if you need a way to pull that off, don't worry, all the pieces for that live in your extra deck. All you have to do is link into Unchained Soul Lord of Yama using 2 Fiend monsters. This will search out Sharvara, link the Yama and any other monster into Rage, then pop that Rage with the Sharvara that you searched out. And my favorite part? Because of how the engine works, you could do all of that without even using your normal summon. So you can use the Clear Wall Search to just grab Vicious Knight even if you don't have Cube, and then just hard tribute summon it with the bevy of monsters you have at your disposal. Huzzah! The Kaiju cards once again have a lot of synergy with our strategy. They come in a variety of attributes, so we have a way to force certain Clear World effects on our opponent if we can't set up the wall effect, and by giving our opponent big monsters, we make Vicious even bigger. But even if we can't transmogrify their monsters into kaijus, just giving them free ones can be helpful as well. Ken, the Warrior Dragon, and Gen, the Diamond Tiger, have both been looking for a deck to call their own, and while I don't think this will make them a force to be reckoned with, both of them are light monsters, and you can give one of them to your opponent. So with Clear World, you can keep an eye on your opponent's hand, though you may want to clear your own light before activating Clear World so you can keep your hand a secret. This next one is a really easy engine to plug into just about anything, but because we could use all the help we can get, the Horus cards are particularly well positioned to help us. If we don't have Clear Cube, the Sons of Horus make for great tribute fodder for Vicious, and if you don't have that lined up, they still have a boatload of attack power to pressure your opponent and can go into a wide variety of rank 8s besides, ranging from Coach King Giant Trainer for draws, Galaxy Eyes Photon Lord to ward off monster effects, or the Zombie Vampire to mill cards and summon another monster. As for a silly tech pick, and I can't believe I get to show this off again, the continuous trap card RGB Rainbow Lucian. That's right, it's not limited to just being used on your own monsters, you can target your opponent's monsters as well. That way, even if you don't have Clear Wall active, you can ensure your opponent has every attribute so they get hit with all the effects. And, a little bonus, it also turns the monster into a machine, which is situationally helpful, but at time of recording, a lot of themes right now are banking on putting a light Fiend monster on board to access those Fiendsmith combos, and you can't use a light machine to make Requiem, so you know, just a thought. And that's all the info I have on Clear World. There are a few cards from the anime that haven't quite made their appearance yet, so expect to see more of these prismatic pugilists in future sets, where they could potentially make the Vicious combo even more effective, though I'm not sure they'll be able to get rid of their main weakness. The better the cards are, the more telegraphed your plays are going to be, which means your opponent is going to be able to see through all of your plans. But now, I want to hear what you all have to say. Is Clear World the crystal clear choice to play, or do they lack any substance? And which one's your favorite? Me? I'm a fan of that dragon. Something about how they're all stanced up is really endearing. Let me know which one is your favorite down below, and if you haven't already, please be sure to like the video if you liked it, subscribe so you don't miss an episode, and share this video with somebody you know who loves Yu-Gi-Oh! It really does a lot to help me out. Today's episode is brought to you by my lovely patrons, as well as the lovely people over at Dragon Shield. Get the sleeves as strong as dragon scales and save 5% on your order by using the coupon code GoldenNova at checkout. Today's episode is also brought to you by my lovely patrons, including this month's illustrious Quasar Commanders, Simic Toadstool and Upstairs Media, Nebula Navigators 3rd Dynasty, 50 Gigabytes, Ada Basilisk, Adams Ajdel, Owexitowa Hime, Anansi Dragon, Ancient Wizard, Andrew Newman, Kane Senpai, Chibi Gohan, Christopher Fuss, Clockswork, Comrade Copperbottom, Emony Chan, Eric, Frankie, Garland Chaos, Green Knight, Gloomba 331, Great Big Pillock, Groog, Harebear, Harry the Ominous Benefactor, Howling Zangetsu, Iron Zero, Iskander 711, Carp, Mana Charge, Marion James E. Bacata, Megacombi, Millennia Asta, Mern, Nathan Vig, Natiel Lee Alexander, Orozco 09096, Panther J, Rebel King Lucifer, Red Eyes Jackalow, RJ the Jank Monarch, RL Man, Sammy Haim, Scott 48, Serenity Towns, Skybuster Leo, the Phantom Knights of Shitted Pants, the Critic of Innocence, Thievery Coast and the Wizard Moose, Cosmic Crusaders A Random Pup, Ariel Kersey, Baron Von Titty Sprinkles, Beelsifer, Burnag, Blitzwolf, Borger with the Shotgun, Chaz Ghost, Childish Lamar, Dr. Reaper R.I.P., Drachenwald, Eki Bullock, Eva Padilla, Hike Boyagian, Herbal D, Ignis the True Draco Slayer, Jester Designs, Kale the Dragon, Kevon Public, Lemon Yu-Gi-Oh!, Lobomaru 02, Manga Pages, Matt Simmons, McSpoofy, Michael Shimabukuro, Michael Sharp, Nitromo, Nyx, Obsidian, Ryan Simon, Shizuki Nijimura, Sophie, apparently, Stephen Williamson, Taylor Seymour, Terror Top to 3, The Legendary Raven, The Pokemon 52, Tiger X2476, Visor KG, Zaldreka and Zalus, as well as the wonderful Starlight Explorers you see on screen now. If you'd like to help me in my journey to cover all of Yu-Gi-Oh's archetypes, get my videos early, and be a part of these credits, along with other awesome perks, it would mean the world to me if you would check out the link to my Patreon in the description, or consider joining as a YouTube member. And if you like really goofy styles of play, why not take a break from learning about archetypes and check out a new format of Yu-Gi-Oh! With this battle where me and my friends play as Yugi, Kaiba, Joey, and a secret fourth character in a 4-player game of domain format. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.